Hey, second graders, let's take a look at some of that informational writing you have. I would call this writing the go outside writing. So the idea with this is that you can go outside in your backyard, your front yard, out in maybe the grassy area by your apartments, but head outside somewhere. You're going to spend about 10 to 15 minutes just sitting there. Like when we've done a sit spot before in class on a field trip or out in Big Sky Park. First thing you're going to do is just look around. Think about, what do you hear? What do you see? Maybe what do you feel? What do you notice? What do you wonder about a little bit? So as you're outside, look all around you, but then do choose one specific thing to focus on. So you're going to choose something that you want to pay the most attention to and notice as many details about it as you can, and just write it all down on a piece of paper. It's like when you do your notice and wonder, you're writing and becoming an expert on something. You're then going to use what you saw to go inside and write a book that has an introduction, a middle, a conclusion, that has all the wonderful details you just learned, that mentions some of those things from your five senses so that someone else who reads your paper would be able to feel like they were there. Of course, you'll go through and double check your capitals and punctuation and spacing and spelling. Then you reread it, add anything else you can, and publish it. So I would love to see this with you when you're done, but let's take a moment to look at an example. So this was me going up in my front yard. Really, it's not a special front yard. I like having a front yard. It's getting a little messy. I just noticed, oh hey, there's a little piece of trash that actually blew into that bush down there. We'll have to clean that up. I'm noticing the spruce tree, that's the one on the left. It's looking not very happy. It looks like it could maybe use some more water. It's a little scraggly looking. I do also notice, though, that Oregon grape. That's the bush that's straight in front of you with the yellow flowers. It has blossoms on it. It has yellow flowers. It's looking good. It's happy and healthy. I'm seeing the ponderosa pine tree. And oh, you guys, do you notice what's over on the right? That's my neighbor's cat. Now, I like cats, I enjoy cats, but that does make me think about the fact that the cat tends to eat birds, which doesn't make me happy. Now, you're looking at the picture with me, and you can see things like the sky and the many different kinds of trees, the bark and the pine needles on the ground. But I can tell you the wind was also blowing. It was maybe a little bit chilly, actually. It was kind of in the morning. It smelled really good. I noticed smells from farther away. I don't have lawn in my yard, it's just the bark, but one of my neighbors has a lawn and he was mowing it, and it smelled like that fresh cut grass. You could smell the bark. It actually has a strong woody smell, and I definitely could hear birds chirping up in the trees. They probably were anxious for me to go back inside so they could go back to the bird feeder. Those are all the things you might notice, and this is just one picture and you looking with me, but when you go out and take a seat, try to take in as much as you can, all those details, and you can write them down. Then you'll have a writing to do. So let's take a look at what I took from going outside into my front yard. I started off. In my front yard, if you are quiet, things are as busy as school recess. Now you guys, I tried to start off with kind of an interesting introduction, a hook, something that made people excited to keep going. I actually got a little inspiration from Aisen's writing earlier this week, where he was using all those similes. We talked about those in class, and you guys are so good at writing them. So I thought, hey, as busy as a school recess. Plus, I kind of miss school. So that's how I decided on my first sentence. Then I go on. I can smell my neighbor's freshly mowed lawn and the bark on the trees getting warm in the sun. Birds are flying, bees are buzzing, trees are moving in the breeze. So I've now talked about things I could smell, things I could see, things I could feel, things I could hear, all in a couple sentences. I notice a bird with a black and white head, a chickadee. It is very small and moves quickly. It comes to the bird feeder, takes a seed, then flies away. When a cat walks by, it makes a bunch of noise from the tree it's hiding in. So I spent all those sentences just talking about the chickadee. That's the thing that caught my attention. I noticed one bird and I decided to focus on it and learn as much about it as I could. What does it look like? What does it do with the bird feeder? How does it act when a cat walks by? And then I made sure I had a sentence at the end that made it feel like the closing, so I didn't just leave people hanging. So I wrote, I add some more bird seed to the bird feeder, so I keep seeing chickadees. They seem to like it. So Your sit spot, or little informational text, is going to be just from, it's honestly kind of like a small moment in nature, except for it's more becoming an expert in one particular place outside, where you also try to focus on one thing that you can tell us all about. So you now know what it was like to go sit out in Ms. Dickey's yard for a few minutes. We would love to hear from you.